Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hypnosis Hero. Once again, we are bringing you some of the world's greatest hypnotists to hypnotize you right through the screen. That's right, right through the screen, right here, right now. Well, in about 45 minutes. Of course, if you're a longtime watcher, listener, you know that we always start off the show with a few jokes, a few chuckles, finding out how the other heroes are doing, and then we bring on our guest hero. Of course, joining me today, Sean Kostiak is in the back, captain. He's producing things. Sometimes we let him out of the basement, sometimes we don't. Coming up first, though, my good friend, my colleague, hypnotist, Brian Bay. Welcome to the show, Brian.
And good afternoon, or actually evening time. It's a
Yeah.
little bit of a challenge now that we've got some sunlight that comes through when we come on.
Yeah, right?
The,
How you doing
the
this
days are
week?
getting. Dude, the prayer circles helped.
Thank God.
Last weekend's but not yesterday, but the weekend before, everything woke up from winter,
Mhm.
started blooming, and seasonal allergies turned into a near fatal man cold. Easily, I think I topped out a temperature maybe about 99.5.
Oh, my God.
And so it was, anybody who's had a man cold before, it's
Oh, I've been there.
just blowing your nose and the chafing right here,
Oof. Yeah.
sore
No,
throat.
I
You're
know.
just like,
I know. Yeah.
I needed one of those like really, really hot, like in-home nurses. And I just had the dog.
I just had a busy week. Sorry, buddy. I couldn't get over there.
It is as much as attractive as you would look in a candy striper outfit. And with a damn I'm pretty candy striper outfit.
I appreciate your vote of confidence on that. But I don't think I'd pull it off that well. Well, I'm glad you survived the dreaded man cold. I've been there before. It's hell. What else? What else? Anything else going on in your life, Brian?
Yeah, I called a friend of mine Dale. I was like, Dale, how are you doing? He goes, oh, I'm pulling my hair out. I said, Dale, you're bald. Which leaves me with questions that I don't think I want answered.
Yes, people always say we don't have any hair, but we got plenty of hair.
Yeah.
Bald on top. All right, good chatting with you. Let's bring on the captain, the guy who makes things happen. Sean Kostiak. Do I got to bring you on myself, Sean? Oh, there he is. And he's got the.
No, you don't. Apparently, I'm doing the news right now.
Yeah.
Hang on. That's better.
Oh, I love it.
Performing Hypnosis Summit.
Hang on.
We'll
do that.
That's what we need to make some Hypnosis Hero background. That's what we'll do.
There we go.
Sean, how are you this week?
Good. Almost on the plus side of temperatures. Let's put it that way.
Oh, that's exciting news.
It
even
is.
With metric.
Even with the metric, yep.
Wow.
Because 1 is greater than 0. At least it is in metric. So.
Mm-hmm.
Did the groundhog lie to you?
It
was like, springtime is here, and he's like, Dave Chappelle, ha, gotcha, betcha.
It really depends on which groundhog you want. Like, are we talking about Wyerton Willie here, or Chubinecti Sam?
Is Chubinecti Sam related to Justin Trudeau?
No.
Going back on his word, and
no, that's a whole different groundhog.
Okay.
All right, good.
Fun and games.
Sean, looks like you're going to a job interview. What's going on?
I just got back from work. I do that kind of thing, and I clean up pretty well. Like, I get compliments on cleaning up.
I love it.
Work. See also visit with his probation officer. Or at least that's what I tell people when I get dressed up.
All right. Enough of the shenanigans, enough of the nonsense. I want to bring on our guest. Oh, we got some hellos to say. We got Paulette. Paulette, stay tuned. You're going to want to see the merch we're introducing this week. Exciting news. Mark, good to see you, Mark. I owe you a phone call. We got to chat. So our guest today, she's a trailblazer in the art of and science of truly integrative approaches in hypnotherapy. She's a certified teacher, hypnotherapist, coach since like 1992, quite a long time. She's won a ton of awards, and I am so happy to bring her on. She's a colleague, a friend of ours. We all know Sandra, right? Yeah, good. Let's bring her on. Sandra Grace, welcome to the show. Applause.
This is where we do the sound effect.
It's not often
I didn't want to work today.
Gentlemen on a Monday night. This doesn't happen every day. This is kind of exciting for me.
No, we haven't seen you. Well, I haven't seen you since Vegas.
Right.
And I'm already ready for another Vegas trip, but not during the summertime. It gets 1,000 degrees. Like even Sean melts it.
I don't know. I've got a pretty high temperature tolerance. Just ask Jim, because when we were out doing badass hypnosis there, I was still wearing my jacket.
He was.
Yeah, Sean still needs to thaw out.
That's been a few years ago.
Perhaps that's the way it works when you're in that gentleman phase, right?
Sandra, you look smashing as always. I love the white top there. You got is that white glasses to match?
Yeah, cream, we would say. A bit of an off-white.
Whatever.
Remember, we're gentlemen. We know black, white, red, blue, green. Roy G. Biv. That's what we know.
Yes, Laura. Stay tuned. You're going to see the pretty shirt. Okay. I'm going to let everybody, just before we get started with the actual interview, I got to remind everyone how it works. We're going to do a raffle later on. One of you fabulous watchers, listeners, live could win a prize. So far, Mark Barris has won a prize.
Becky
has won a prize. I'd love her to send us a photo that we can show on the air. I've seen a photo, but I don't know if we can show it on the air. I should ask her. Tonight, brand new, hot off the presses, everyone. You have an opportunity to win this lovely, hold on, wait for it. Hold on. Share button. I wish Sean could do everything, but he can't do everything, sadly. Chrome tabs. Damn, I'm pretty. Okay.
We're semi-professionals, guys.
Semi-professionals. And I think I have to, that's right, I have to actually click it now. Sorry, Sandra. This is why people tune in, Sandra. They want to see what kind of fun stuff. There it is. The brand new Damn I'm Pretty shirt in
hot pink for the ladies.
Hot pink, special request from Paulette St. Louis. Special request. Created that earlier this week. We have actually pink and red tank tops and t-shirts. So you will have your choice. Now you can actually head over to the Damn I'm Pretty store. How do you think you might get to the Damn I'm Pretty store, guys?
DamnI'mPretty.com. Do I win one?
Boom, right there. Sandra nailed it. DamnI'mPretty.com, and you will find all the pretty merchandise. You can also win, and yes, you can win a second time. So I see Becca's on there. Now, how do you win? All right. With every comment, include the hashtag Hypnosis Hero. We're going to demonstrate what that looks like. So I hope I don't win again. Hypnosis Hero. So you include that with your comment, hashtag Hypnosis Hero. You'll be entered to win. We will do that at the end of the show. Sandra.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, and that was it.
Apparently, we're going to switch to Jim 2.0.
Oh, God. No, hold on. Let me roll up my sleeve so I can carry this show.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, Jim will be back right away. You know, what was that old, is it CBS that had it? After these messages, we'll be right back.
Yeah.
Oh, no. No, what we need is like from The Simpsons when Krusty the Clown, they would have it would be like the technical difficulties, and it's like the camera guy with the booze, and he's passed out.
That's exactly what it is. Sandra, thank you.
You were asking a question, Jim, and then you kind of froze and disappeared.
Yeah.
It's like you went to Canada and came back.
Sandra, tell us, so later on, you're going to be demonstrating your special Grace protocol. You want to tell folks about that before we jump into the interview?
Yeah. So, well, first and foremost, I guess I don't have it handy, but I was blessed recently. Freddie Jacquin, who you may know from across the pond, he put together a book this spring that included a chapter from many of our esteemed colleagues, and I was honored to be one of those. And it was the first time I've ever written anything about the Grace Protocol, so I'm really excited. This he also made me for the first time author. I know it's a little late in the game that I'm finally published, but I got my first place in the book, so that's exciting. And so I wrote about it. So for those that are curious about a little bit more, I don't know how much time we're going to have to chat about it. That is a place where you can learn more about it as well. But the way it started is sort of a kind of a freaky story. Do I have a minute to share?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
But now, if I can't tell, but you're kind of breaking up a bit. Did you give a website or something for people to find that?
Oh, that's a great idea. We'll have to check with Freddie Jacquin, I think is where you'll look for it. And he's on Amazon. So I know that it's being sold through Amazon under Freddie's name.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's called The Exquisite Art of Hypnosis, I believe.
Oh, Exquisite Art of Hypnosis. Nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, and I think there's about a dozen of us that he had write a chapter. So it's very sweet of him. So what I told in the book was this story that was truly dear to my heart. So, we all have that mentor, that person that brings us into hypnosis, right? And so there's a dear woman by the name of Joanne Couch, and she's currently in Arizona. She trained me. She didn't start off training me in hypnosis. I was a massage therapist, an energy worker, a coach. I was doing lots of other things, and when I would get so far with a client and then I couldn't get any further, I would refer them to Jo. And so we had this, and we would do retreats together and things like that. And I just loved working with her. And she was trained by Shelley Stockwell, I think, originally. But then she moved to Arizona and moved away, and she wasn't in my community anymore. And I said, what am I going to do? And she said, well, you're just going to go get certified. So I had the honor of being certified under Art Lidecker through the NGH. And I think that was so I started with her in 99, and then I did my official training, in 07. I think I became an instructor or something because I'd already been a teacher. So anyway, I flew out to see my mentor, who's now 80 something. And I flew out to see her on this visit, and I got there and she wasn't particularly well. And she was in some pain and discomfort, and I wanted to help her. And so I set up a table in the house. I said, hey, would you let me work on you a little bit? Maybe some massage. And she's like, I'm good. Let's just enjoy our time. I'm good. And kept asking. And then finally, I had just met Freddie Jacquin at the Hypnotherapy conference. And so I said to her, I go, well, I've got a friend. If you don't, how about you let him do this? He has this awesome arrow technique. Would you be open to meeting him and seeing him? Well, I'll meet him. So they got on the phone and she fell in love with him like everyone was Freddie. But then she was like, I don't think I'm interested in that today. Thank you. And I was like, I was just beside myself, right? So while she's on the phone with Freddie, I'm in setting up a table and, setting up some of my woo-woo stuff, right, to work on her. She comes out, she comes on the table, she gets on there, and it sounds so cheesy, but it's true. I swear it felt like divine intervention, and I was just sort of told what to do during this session. And I did an hour and a half, 2 hour session on her where it was a combination of some body work, some energy work, some I worked with some essential oils. I did hypnosis. It was just this combination thing. And when it was all done, I was like, wow, what just happened here? You know how sometimes you guys do this? You're doing a hypnosis session, or you're doing hypnosis and words just start flying out of your mouth. And you're like, wow, that was really good. I didn't know I even need to say that, right?
Yeah.
That was one of those moments, right, where it felt like, it was so great. And when we got done, she was completely pain-free, and she was just it was miraculous to me. She literally just walked out the kitchen, started making dinner where she could barely move before that. And I was like, what just happened here? And so, then she said to me, would you mind taking some time and kind of writing down whatever you said or did so that I would know what happened in there? Because, I wasn't really feel like I was super with it. And so I did. I took some notes for myself, and then I came home and I wanted to share it with a friend. So I asked a friend if I could do it for them, and they allowed me to. And so I got to explore it a little bit further. And since then, it's just been, growing and expanding. So oftentimes when I'm live, it includes a lot of other modalities in the Grace Protocol. So sometimes I'm doing, healing touch, or reflexology or massage, or using essential oils, or maybe I'm, so sometimes there's a culmination of a lot of modalities, and sometimes it's just the hypnosis part. And I'm finding that people are just really enjoying it. And it feels very in line with my belief system and the way I work with people, because it takes that integrative approach, So we look at the physical, structural, the mental, emotional, the energetic, the value system. And it's just been really fun how it came about. And the part that was so great about it is, of course, I get off the phone with her, and the next day or whatever, this is back right after I met Freddie, we were exchanging every week. And I told him, I go, he goes, how's your friend? And I go, oh, it was so cool. And I told him about it, and he's like, you need to like label that. You need to write it up. So he came up with the name Grace Protocol, actually. So that's why I was honored when he wrote the chapter in the book about it, because it was his name. It's just been really great, getting to learn and explore and develop a specific protocol. Like, of course, we all just make stuff up as we go, right? Like we've had all these trainings, but then it's always fluid when you're in the session. But that's one outline that I feel has really been making an impact on people.
How cool! I'm excited to listen to it later.
Yeah, hopefully participate.
Ooh, yes, absolutely. So, so for those, because I know a lot about you, but a lot of the listeners don't. What is your niche? Do you have a certain group that you like to work with?
So I would say that so my background's in education. Some people know, and others don't know that. So my first several years, I was a teacher, and then I trained teachers, and so my undergrads were in communication and education. So like theater and stuff like that. So I trained speakers, actors, performers, things like that. And then when I left formal education, I left because I'm a 2-time cancer survivor. And so that's when I first learned about energy work, is I took a hiatus in my teaching position and I released cancer. And so that's when all that woo stuff that I'd never been into. I started a science and math girl until that, but it was fantastic how it changed my life. And so at that time, I also went to school, became a massage therapist and a Reiki practitioner. And I have about 15 or 20 other modalities, polarity therapy. It takes forever to list them all, but I do a lot of other, healing techniques or whatever. And so that's when I got into all of that. And then I was working with clients, and I would be doing some things, like I would be doing my office person would have someone come in and they would say, well, they're looking for, some healing touch, or they're looking for some hypnosis, or they're looking for this and this. And then, I have a lot of corporate stuff I've done over the years, corporate training and stuff. And we have John Deere International right here in town. So I had this guy come in, an ex-executive, and I asked him, oh, I'm sorry, it doesn't say on your chart. What are you here for? I don't know what we're doing. And he's like, I don't know. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, I just know that I'm supposed to be here, and I'll tell you the stuff that's not right, and you tell me how we're gonna fix it. So it was the first time I really started with a different approach, instead of coming in with my hammer and being like, okay, you need hypnosis, here you go, or my screwdriver, oh, you need fire. And it was the first time I just came in and he just let me open up my toolbox and go, well, what you got going on, And it was this life transforming event. And so this was in the early 90s, by the way. So what happened is this guy, when he was done with about 8 weeks with me and he had a pretty good transformation, he sent this big, beautiful bouquet of thank you flowers. And my office staff said, what's the card say? And it said, I opened up and said, thanks for being my life coach, And I turned to her and I go, what the fuck is a life coach? Like, I never heard of it, right? And she goes, oh, this doctor who shared my office, she goes, oh, I know. I saw it on Oprah last week, And I was like, what? This is how old I am, folks, right? And so I was like, well, what is that? And she's like, I don't know. So, of course, I search all over. I find some place in California that's certifying people, So I order it online and stuff comes in and I start getting the books. And I remember this moment so vividly. I was like, I teach that. I went through all the books and I was like, apparently I've been coaching for a long time and didn't even know it, right? Integrative coaching. I think they were calling it some kind of holistic coaching or something then, And so, so that's been a huge part of my passion over the years is to help other folks with maybe singular or dual or triple modalities that they do, and help them to create for themselves an integrative approach to their coaching. So that's been my passion project for the last several years, is putting together this integrative coaching certification so that people can learn when they want to work with a client. How do they, instead of having this whole laundry list of services like I used to do, it was like you would hand it out and you'd be like, so which of these 25 things would you like today, right? And instead you create your own protocol, your own ability to combine them together into this approach that says, here's the toolbox. How can I help? Instead of running around with your hammer and your screwdriver trying to fix them,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love that. But so I've been doing that for the last couple of years. That's been a fun passion project. Recently, I've, I guess for probably the last 5 or 10 years, I've been doing a lot of coaching entrepreneurs. So I got into this millionaires group, and so there's a bunch of folks that either were ready to flip to their first million or make their first billion. And I got the pleasure of coaching a lot of these, mostly gentlemen. And it was nice because it got me to look at a new mindset. And so I was able to help them and that's what really created the system. Is I started looking at the habits that I noticed of these folks, and I started to see, what has to happen in order for them to live their best life, physically, structurally, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and remain in alignment, and also be incredibly successful. So I really loved my work. And then that got me back into corporate training, which I love, because then they would say, well, now I want you to come work with my top executives, or I want you to come work with my teams or my sales teams and stuff. So that's been fun. This is sort of my journey over the years, working through these things. As you know, I am finally putting together my first stage show, we're calling it. It's a small group show. I'm really excited about that. I've had the support of a lot of folks. Michael DeShalit's done some consulting for me. Terry Stokes has been really great. And now I've been working every week since your event. I've been working with Michael John's been helping me put it together. So I'm really excited about, sharing that. I had my first run through last week and studied my notes. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of that.
When is the show?
So my show's a little bit different. It was there was several reasons why I hadn't done stage up until now. I had been on stage a lot. Like I said, I have a degree in theater and stuff. I'm comfortable being on stage, and I've done a lot of keynote speaking and that sort of thing, but I hadn't done a stage show. And I remember I was having a conversation with a couple of folks about why not. And one of them was in a class Michael was teaching. He said, hey, if you haven't done your first show yet, why not? And I said, because I'm not funny. He's like, what? And I go, I'm a lot of things. Like, seriously, I'm wicked smart. I mean, I got some good characteristics, right? I'm intuitive. I got a lot of stuff, but like, I'm not funny. And so I think you have to be funny to do a stage show. And he's like, that's ridiculous. And I was like, no, it's not. Like all stage shows I've seen are funny. I'm not. He's like, but you don't have to be funny. You just have to have them be funny. And I was like, oh, how did I miss that? Like, right?
you just tend to be the conduit, where you just kind of go, all right, here, you do something, you create the opportunity, and you're just kind of the conductor of your own comedy orchestra. You don't have to tell the jokes.
Yeah,
sometimes the stuff happens on its own organically.
I know. So I was really.
Listening to you earlier, it sounds like you just sort of, much like I did, you kind of just stumbled and fell your way into this. Hypnosis portion.
I would say that there was some intention definitely behind it, but mostly I've been blessed to just sort of let life lead me. So like I said, I was a high school teacher and a coach for several years. Then I got my master's in marriage and family counseling, is what I was moving towards. And I sort of decided I didn't want to be a counselor. I didn't want to diagnose. I didn't want to prescribe. I didn't want to do that. So that's why when I found coaching, it was such a beautiful concept for me, because I had already had a lot of that type of training, but I wanted to approach it in a different way. Right. So for me, I don't want to ruminate about the past. Right. And I just want to help leverage all those experiences that we've had up until now and help people to move forward in a path that they create. So helping them get clarity on goals and helping them to, find the right methods and modalities to get them the physical structural foundations they need, get the right mindsets and thoughts, teaching the self-hypnosis, that sort of stuff. It just has been sort of, getting clarity over the years. And I decided several years back that, I'm saging and aging, guys. I've got a lot of years behind me. And so I was like, it's time that I start really focusing on training others, because, as an individual, we can only touch so many people. But if we're training others, then we have that, ability to let them stand on our shoulders. And I really believe that from that place that, many of my students who you'll probably know, I think we're up to like 10 of them or something at Hypnotherapy this year, and I think I've got like 6 of them coming to Heartland this year that are presenting. So I'm really, really proud of my students. And so I'm just moving to that place, now where it's mostly about training others. But I've had a couple really cool people that, did the hypnosis training that went on to do some good stage stuff. You guys know Zach Pinson's, he's like extraordinary young man and that circus of it. And, that's because Paul Ramsey did the specific training for him for the stage stuff. And I just helped with the hypnosis certification. But it made me realize that all my students would benefit if I would be more well-rounded. So this was my sort of the last undone, right? So I was like, so this is it. So my show is a little bit more about like message and meaning. So I'm really focused on, it's really important to me that the show has an end result that empowers people that have been struggling. And so I think a lot of shows do that, but I'm particularly proud of this show and its intention that I teach everyone. I allow everyone, like Paul does. I hypnotize everyone in the audience for stress management, and I teach everyone self-hypnosis. And then we take a few of life's most stressful things and play them out and laugh about them, and then find a new way of looking at them, and then I teach them another self-hypnosis technique before they leave. So beginning of the show, everyone gets hypnosis. End of the show, everyone's trained in hypnosis. So everyone leaves learning 2 ways to hypnotize themselves for stress reduction. And the show's called Not One More Fucking Thing. Because it was really designed for me, it was designed for people that I don't know, how many people know, but I'm sort of that sandwich generation, right? So I have a teenage son. My husband died when he was 2, and I have an 86-year-old mother that I care for as well. And my life sometimes feels like, there were times when it felt like there's no space for Sandra Grace in it, right? And it's because there's just always one more fucking thing to do because you're running the company and then you have all these students that you're taking care of. You guys know what it's like, right? And today I had to run my puppy to the vet, right? And it's just always, and you feel like I just can't do one more fucking thing. And for people, I think all the time, I just had this conversation, I don't know if you know Jennifer Norris Nielsen, but we just had this conversation today and I was like, what if people didn't have all the skills we have? Like, Jesus, some days I feel like I barely survived this. Like, how do people do it if they don't have all these, right, abilities that we have, right? And so I just thought, that's what I want to do with my show. I want to give it to them. Yeah. And so it was really designed originally for the sandwich generation, for women like me. And then it was funny because some of my students who are like young moms, or I have these guy entrepreneurs, and they were like, I want to come to your show. I want to come to your show. And so then I realized, all right, so it gave me a chance to, change the dynamic of it a little bit. So it applies to all the audiences. And we've just in the last 2 weeks, Michael's helped me to shift the show. So now it is not, to the target market I really decided. It's not so specific to, women of a certain age, but it's to all genders and identifications of all ages. And so I'm proud that, he helped me to make that shift.
So I kind of apologize because I may have kind of kicked the train off the rails with Jim's question, but when is the show so that we can keep an eye out for it?
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Well, I've got a couple shows coming up that I'm working on. I'm doing one actually for a very small group tomorrow night. I did my first show, like I said, last weekend for a small group. I'm hoping, I don't know if you guys know about the Heartland party, all-night party. Are you guys familiar with this?
No, I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, so a couple years ago, some of my friends and I, we pulled an all-nighter at Heartland to welcome back the stage folks when they were coming back from their shows. So some of them get in at different times. And so when they got in, we were just standing there cheering and clapping for them and pouring them a drink or whatever, And that became so much fun for us that this year we have some really exciting new things, and we have several new people coming. So I don't want to give too much away, but there are lots involved. So it's going to be pretty exciting. So while you guys are all off doing that, I'm probably going to run through it once with some of the folks that are hanging back. So it'll give me a chance to get a audience with a lot of feedback. And then I've got a show at a local, small winery place coming up. And so we're trying to nail down the date. Looks like that'll be May. So my commitment when I was at the Performing Hypnosis Conference, someone asked me when I would be presenting. I said March, April, May. And so I'm hitting my goals.
Very nice.
2 in March,
very nice.
1 in April, and 1 in May.
Very nice. And we're getting a lot of great comments about the name of your show.
Oh.
people are loving that. People are loving that. Shout outs to Mark's watching, Paulette. You got Laura here. Hello, Laura. Fraser tuning in. He's all the way across the pond over in, I think he's in Scotland, or one of those part of the United Kingdom. Let's see. Let me see if we get some. If we have any questions here. What an inspiring story, Sandra, Laura says. Paulette wants to know if you're going to be at the Michigan conference. She says she wants a class with you.
Oh, I actually, for the first time ever, put in a proposal for Michigan conference, but I haven't heard back. So I don't know if that means I didn't get in or they're just haven't announced yet.
Oh, you'll get in. Don't worry. He hasn't gotten back to everyone, I'm sure. Let's see.
Jim knows a guy.
Love hearing everyone's different story about how they joined, right? Oh, and so Becca looks like she's not seen a stage show yet. Becca Rose is a longtime watcher, listener over in the UK.
So I was reading something that comedy stage shows in the United Kingdom, there's some either strict regulations
Yes.
and stuff like that over
Yeah.
there. I think Grant would probably be a better, more qualified person to speak on that, just because.
Well, I think
he's
it's regulated by each individual. I mean, I don't know a ton about it, but like how we would have a state here, right?
Yeah.
They're individually regulated by even cities and townships and stuff. It's a lot more complicated. I know.
And you have to be 18. You have to be over 18 to get hypnotized. So two hurdles.
You have to appease the crown.
Yes. Fraser says, yes, it was, he remembers. So Fraser Penman, of course, was at Heartland when you were there.
Yes, I remember meeting him. And his mother. They're fascinated.
Yes. He remembers the welcome party. He appreciated it. So Becky, you got to go over and see Grant's show. He's doing shows all over the island there. Sandra, so what an exciting thing for you to be. I mean, you're constantly evolving. Now you're doing shows. Maybe next year you'll actually be one of the people that goes out to do the shows and comes back to be greeted. Right.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, it was interesting because William actually offered me a show this year. And then about 3 days later, the local high school called me and they asked me to do a show. Oh. And I just said, here's the problem, that up until now, my show is not appropriate for all ages. Like, you might notice by the title, right? That one more bugging thing. So I'm not saying that one day I may not make it more appropriate to all audiences, but one thing that Michael John said to me that I thought was really thoughtful this week is he said, I'm grateful that you didn't try and make it work and that you allowed yourself to stay true to your mission. Because when we started, he started just, creating like a show, right? And then I said, whoa, Michael, like this is really specific to me. Like it's so important to me that these people leave with these skills and that that's going to be, a high priority. Even though I want it to be fun and we're going to make it that. I know you can do that, right? Like if anyone can, he can do that, right? But I was like, but it's really essential to me that we don't move from this. And he's been really supportive about that. And he said, I'm proud of you for, it would have been easy for you to just go, yeah, let's take those shows, right? And he said, I'm proud of you for like, no, I'm going to stick right now to really perfecting this, this mission I have with the intention of the show. And he says, you can go on to do standard shows like all the time if you want, but like, I think it's really cool that you're sticking with this. So that helped me because I did not like telling William no. I love William Mitchell and I, of course, wanted to say yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Scott, thank you for the kind words. My Edward Snowden background. I don't even know what that means.
Jim's coming to us from Russia and hiding.
It's all making it very mysterious and sexy. I kind of wish I would have done it. Maybe when you guys get started, I'll turn off my lights.
Yeah, guys, you're not mysterious and sexy.
The question has to be, is it Edward Snowden or is it Phil Collins?
Ooh.
I'm going a little of column A and a little column B.
Yeah, I should have my hair back and some more red lipstick.
See, Sandra, we can just point a light just right in your face, and it can be the Sandra interrogation background.
There you go.
Right, bring it on, guys.
The CIA.
What kind of questions do you guys have for Sandra? She's been she's a body worker, energy worker, mind worker. You got the whole body going. I love this too because we talked about this before. I was a massage therapist, and I really love the body mind connection. For me, and I remember way back when I first got I got certified same time. I got trained same time, massage, and then right after I graduated there, I went straight to hypnosis school. And I remember, like hypno massage or something like that. And I was going to do that. And then I kind of got, as a guy, I think it was a little bit scary to do that, doing the body work with the hypnosis, because I think it could be an issue. And then actually William said something about that too. Like some of the complaints that he had heard about hypnotists were when they touch inappropriately. And it's always a guy. And it's not even like touching inappropriately, but if you touch someone and they're in trance, they may decipher it differently, especially if there's trauma in the background. So, but I think that's great that you're able to do that, and you're also able to do the energy work at the same time. And I had a Reiki session with you at was that a
With one of my
performance?
students, actually.
Oh yeah, one of your Casey. That's right. That's right. It was Casey. All you blonde chicks look alike to me.
Thanks.
And
that's a compliment. I look like Casey Pico. Wow, I think I just scored tonight. That is one beautiful woman.
And it was fabulous. It was a great experience. What can people expect to learn from you at Heartland? What are you teaching at Heartland this year?
Yeah, at Heartland, I'm pretty excited. I've got a couple different things. I actually wish I had the list in front of me now that we're saying it, but I know a few of them, and I'm pretty excited about them. I know I'm going to do two things that I've never done before that I'm really excited. So I partnered with another hypnotist that you remember we talked about on the Hypno News, John Lanis, and he's an author, and he's in some movies and stuff. But he and his background is really in marketing and sales and stuff. But he is this extraordinary man who has been studying since he was 9 years old about fragrance. So he's a hypnotist who I met in Boston at a conference. But we started talking, and we talked about like this power of the olfactory sense. So I've been training people with like essential oils for, 15 years or something. And so we started talking about the power of using it, not just for anchors and triggers, but also to induce state. And so as we started talking about it, we sat down and made olfactory induction technique. And so we're certifying people post-conference in that. So the Monday after conference, you can stay. And here's the cool part is like the first 2 hours, he's going to do one of his like amazing Japanese sessions for us. So like everyone that stays or is there gets to get like a 2-hour experience in the fragrance, which is pretty amazing. And then we're going to talk about the power of olfactory and how that works. And then we're going to actually share the protocol. It's a 9-step protocol that we're going to share. And so I'm really excited about that. So you'll get to, have this experience. We'll chat a little bit. You go to lunch, you come back. We'll break it down so you understand all the pieces and parts. And then you get to do an exchange, make sure that everyone's confident with it. And then you get to leave with an olfactory induction technique certification. So I'm super jazzed about that because it'll be our first time presenting it. And so that's fun. And then we're also going to do like a 50-minute where we talk about that as well. And then I'm teaching with Jennifer North Nielsen. We're talking about making sure there's message and meaning in your stage show. We're going to be on the stage track. And then I think he and I are on the clinical track. And then I'm doing, for the business track, I'm doing this is my first time. I actually proposed it to Stephanie Skiba for HypnoThoughts, and she said yes, but we're going to put it off a year. So I'm betaing it at Heartland, which is the female, what's it called? Female hypnotist panel, female hypnotist leadership panel.
Oh, cool.
And the reason that I'm doing it is because I have been so impressed as I've had the honor of being out on so many on the circuit, right? I've been out presenting at so many conferences all over the country and a couple of them out of the country. And it's been really great. And what I'm noticing is that most of our leaders, like you amazing men leading these podcasts, I haven't seen as many females that up until now were taking those leadership roles, which is strange to me because I think someone told me that statistically there are more female hypnotists in the world.
There is.
Yeah. And so it's amazing to me. So why are there so many more female hypnotists, but so few of them seem to be taking leadership roles up until now, right? And I mean, humbly, I understand that there are many that have come before me that are powerful female leaders. But I also feel as though, I have a lot of students in these younger generations that I want to inspire to start thinking about how can you contribute to our community. And so I committed, I don't know if it was 5 or 7 years ago that I was going to find a way to give to my community. And I've been looking every conference I go to. How can I help this conference? What can I do? The Heartland cheerleading thing is the best I got. But, I really, every conference I go to, I say, what can I give to this community? What's unique about this community? And what, do I have that I can give? Because I want to help this community in the way they help me. I've been so blessed on a personal and professional level by the people in our hypnosis world. And when I saw when I had this realization, I I mean, certainly you guys have seen it too, right? I mean, there are some really powerful women out there leading hypnosis for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely dominated by men, even though we are the minority, which is, I mean, it is interesting. Yeah. Except on the stage side. The stage side, there's more men, definitely. But on the hypnotherapy side, definitely more women. Absolutely.
Right.
I would almost say that on the hypnotherapy side, that women would be, I think, by default, more effective, because there's that maternal instinct and that maternal component to it, where it's like, hey, I'm going to mom per se for comfort, solve the problems and everything, and then if that makes sense, because like when we were all kids, especially guys, you don't go to dad because you got the sniffles or something's upsetting you. You go to mom because dad's going to tell you to get up, rub some dirt in it. If that makes any type of sense, just generally traditionally speaking. And I'm definitely painting with a broad brush there.
Well, I can definitely see that the numbers are skewed. And again, when I was working in the millionaires group with the gentleman there, I noticed at first that I was finding mostly males as well, right? And so I had to literally look for female millionaires groups. There weren't many. And I went looking for them, and I did some work with them as well. But being in personal and professional development as long as I have, I've really looked to see that we have role models and leaders, and I have hypnosis female role models. There's plenty of them out there that besides Joe that I was speaking to. Like I'll never forget. Like I was a total fangirl the first time I met Shelley Stockwell, because she had trained my mentor, right? And I was like, oh, I've heard about her. I remember like
talk about powerful. Wow.
Woo. Right? Or Kaz Riley, right? Like you meet someone like that, or Melissa Tears, like, oh my gosh, right? And no one's going to find a bigger fan of Stephanie Skiba than I am, right? Like, and so, I mean, there's definitely a lot of powerful women out there, Amber Rose Cox, like there's so many women that have made such an impact in our field and what they've done and the books that they've written and the things that they're doing. And yet it definitely is not matching in numbers. And so we need to make sure that we are contributing back to our community, as so many of you amazing men have been doing over the years. Like, right? We have a responsibility to our community to make sure we're finding out how do we give back to, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And be more noticed and be an inspiration to more women, because the other part of this is not just is creating that space and that place where women feel comfortable. And then like we had at the PHS, after Deanna's talk, we had someone say, your talk changed my life. A female stage hypnotist, you changed my life, because they need that leadership to have someone to relate to. It's it's different. I mean, you can have idols that are men or females, but when they're your same gender, I mean, it just makes it better.
We got a couple. Oh, I was gonna say we got a couple of great questions here. But I'll wait till you get to a stopping point, Sandra.
No, I'm happy to hear the question. I feel like one of the things that I really hope happens in St. Louis at Williams Conference is I really hope that there are men who choose to attend that panel, because I think that there's definitely some great Q&A that can happen that will help to inspire that. So it doesn't necessarily need to be a room full of women where we discuss women in leadership, because I think that having some of the strong male leaders like yourself there could really contribute to the discussion, right? Because it's a panel, it's a forum, it's a discussion, right? And I think that there's plenty of I mean, that conference has amazing men, right? The first Isha, right? I don't know what this initiation is that's going to happen there, but I did reach out to Paul Williams. I go, like, should I be afraid? Because like there's a Greek system where I went to school. Like, should I be afraid of this initiation? He's like, oh goodness, no. I was like, what's happening in our initiation exactly, right? But like, there's some really powerful folks that are going to be at this conference from around the world. Like, it's just an amazing conference, as intimate and small as Heartland is. There's some power hitters there, and so I would really hope that some of them might choose to also be a part of this panel and give suggestions, right? Some of those strong male leaders can come and be a part of this discussion, right?
So Becca was asking kind of if you want to kind of give a summarized answer, how exactly does the energy stuff work, and then is it focusing on parts of the body?
Yeah. So yeah, I've been training folks in energy work for about 3 decades now, and I'm super passionate about it because it's the way I release cancer. So I had never heard of it. It was all very woo woo for me. It wasn't the way I was rolling, right? And then traditional medicine wasn't going to work for me in releasing the cancer, and so I started exploring other modalities. And so with the energy work, yeah, there's a lot of different ways in which you can address it. Body connection, like Jim was talking about, is definitely one of those. So, there's more and more, Dr. Dean Ornish and more folks that were in, early 2000s, late 90s that were starting to publish works in the medical field talking about what we're learning about mind-body connection, way beyond like the Louise Hay stuff of the 80s or whatever. And so there's definitely this idea that, like in chiropractic, they talk about thoughts, toxins, and traumas, right? So, of course, it could be a toxin that's causing the dis-ease in your body, right? You might have a poison or some sort of toxin that's happening, right? It could be a trauma, right? You could have a car accident, right? And so it could be some sort of trauma. But we know as hypnotists that it could also be related to our thoughts. And so the question is always like, do those repetitive thoughts then create the dis-ease or discomfort in the body? Or is the discomfort in the body causing the thoughts? And most of us, I think, in our field would agree that it's usually a chicken egg sort of thing, that like one is definitely feeding off the other, right? So that when we stay in those frequencies, we know that the thoughts we're having fire off the chemicals that create the feelings in our body. And if those chemical fires are happening repetitively over time, then it can literally cause damage inside to our organs in our bodies, right? So we know as hypnotists, we understand that that's how it can work. So then the part that's always interesting is mind-body connection has always been something that I think most hypnotists are pretty open to, but it's this whole like spiritual part or the value system part that I found early in my career that I didn't know a lot of people that were talking about that. And I think it's because it was kind of a forbidden ground. Like we don't want to mess. Like when I was young, my dad used to say, "You don't talk about politics. You don't talk about money. You don't talk about religion." Like there was things, right? And so I think early as hypnotists, like the same as Jim said, that there was this story that like we don't touch our clients, or there was this story that we don't talk about their spiritual beliefs or something maybe, right? And I hope to think that's pretty prehistoric now, because I have to say with all these young entrepreneurs that I work with, right, these powerful, 30-year-old millionaires, I'm telling you, they all are more than happy to talk to me about their spiritual foundation and belief. And I think it's because I don't push or promote a particular belief, right? So for me, it's always like God, Allah, Buddha, Jesus, the oneness, science, nature, whatever it is to you.
Usually they're spiritual and beliefs is kind of the foundation of, what is them, their being. To kind of segue, Laura had a great question. Sandra, she was asking, what is your advice on teaching everyday people who are anxious to tap into the relaxation and learn self-hypnosis? And my quick answer to that is sometimes people just need to get the hell out of their own way. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well,
what advice would you have?
Yeah, in August, I'm going to be at a conference where I'm speaking specifically on this topic. And I chose it, even though it seems like, kind of a topic that's been around forever and kind of boring, maybe to some people, like you're really teaching a class on something. So I'm like, yeah, because what I know is that I started practicing self-hypnosis in 1999, and I've practiced every day of my life since. I haven't missed a day. And when I had brain surgeries, I had those back-to-back brain surgeries, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. I truly believe that because I had that practice, that's why I was able to do my surgeries with hypnosis, right? And able to forego the medications and the drugs. So what I tell people is you never know.
Wait. Hold. Brain surgery without medication or drugs.
Right. We did. Well, I mean, one of them, I died 3 times, so then they had to use some meds. But other than that, it was really cool.
I'm assuming you're talking like the pain meds afterwards.
Yeah, we didn't use any pain meds, but we also, for many of the procedures, we didn't have to use the medication. So I got really blessed because I asked if there was any way they'd be open to not using the medications because I'm so sensitive. And when I asked, they said that one of the anesthesiologists, they thought she was a hypnotist, so they would let me meet her. And sure enough, she was an NGH certified hypnotist. And so she came in and just laid before us like 7 drugs and said, well, this is what I should usually give you. I should give you this, and it does this. Do you want it? I'm like, nope. She's like, I usually give you this. It does this. Do you want it? I'm like, nope. Like, she was phenomenal. And during my surgery, she was so great because one of the things that was really important to me is that I wanted to make sure that the conversations in the room were all very positive. I didn't want, when I was deep in state, I didn't want my subconscious to hear any, limiting or worrisome discussion from the doctors. And she was phenomenal about the discussion and what was allowed to be spoken. And she was just, she was amazing. She was amazing. So I was really blessed. Yeah. And while I was doing that, Paul Ramsey and I were doing work together at that time. And so he would support me in my pre-work before I would go in. And then they would put me on the table and I would do my deepening stuff. And then the anesthesiologist was there to help support things as well. And we had an agreement that when I came out in recovery, that they were not allowed to give me any pain meds, because sometimes when I would first come out, there would be like a moment of discomfort. And they always asked, do you want anything for the pain? And I was like, do not let them give me anything for the pain. Just wait and give me a minute to get myself together. And if I couldn't get together quickly enough, they'd bring Paul in the room and he would help with that too. So yeah.
I see a business opportunity with like some tier 1 units in the special operations folks, but
pretty powerful.
Yeah, Becca had a good kind of a follow-up question. I don't know why it's not letting me. There we go. It says, is it common for people to fall deeper depending on whether it's a male or female voice, depending on their preference of what feels more comfortable? And she says that she tends to prefer male voices. So I'll throw that out to both you and Jim. You guys are the experienced ones.
Yeah, feel free. Yeah. I don't believe that gender is specific. I think that the pitch can have an impact. I think that if you can lower your pitch, that sometimes you create more comfort than a higher pitch. And so, and also whether you're authoritative or you're permissive is probably the biggest influence. And if you're doing your suggestibility test, you know which one is ideal, right?
Yeah, and she says, or does it just depend on how well of a hypnotist they are?
All those. I think it's all those. It's the pitch. It's the what you perceive the hypnotist, whether you think they're better, and also who you're more comfortable with. There are some, unfortunately, because men are more often the villains in the world. There are women that don't feel comfortable with a male hypnotist. I don't know that that's true for females, although I do think that there's sometimes males may not want to use a female because they don't think they're strong enough, if that makes sense. But it's really going to come down, I think, to whatever you're most comfortable with, really.
It's about rapport. So I think that the question is, if you have the right amount of rapport with your client, then all those things become very insignificant, right? So as long as they know that you are qualified and that they are safe with you and that you've done that sort of thing. And there are those that just seem to emulate that, right? You meet them and instantly you just feel comfortable with them. And others, maybe they don't look or feel or sound that way on first meeting. And so that's where that training that we have, and you stage folks, you know it better than anyone. You have to develop deep rapport instantaneously, right? Like you're the aces for that, right?
Scott says you died 3 times. He says, now that's a deep trance, to which I would say, Scott, she's used up 3 of her 9 lives. she's only got 6 left.
Never died. It's pretty trippy. I'm telling you, it's pretty trippy.
All right, we should go ahead and get started with the hypnosis here real quick. If you have more questions, though, please keep typing away, and we'll talk with Sandra about how long does the Grace protocol take today. You think?
Well, whatever time frame you give me, I can make it.
I think 15, 25 minutes, somewhere between there, or 10 minutes. Whatever. Yeah,
I've done it. Sometimes it takes an hour and a half. Sometimes I've done it in 10 minutes. So I can do whatever you need me to fit it in.
Let's go somewhere closer to the 10-minute mark than the no, somewhere between 15, 20 minutes, probably perfect for folks. Everyone, please get into position if you're ready for this. One more, I just want to remind, before we move on, don't remind me about the important question we have to ask her, guys. But remember, you are playing to win. You can win a beautiful t-shirt or tank top. We got the Damn I'm Pretty merch going on. You can go look at it right now, damnimepretty.com.
Are we doing a drawing for one of each?
No, just one of the items. They get to choose between the tank, the merch, either the tank top or the t-shirt in red or pink.
So before we ask the all important friend or frenemy question,
yes.
everybody, before we get started, if you are going to get into a comfortable position, make sure you are not operating heavy machinery. You're not driving. If you are driving, wait until you're done driving. Get in a comfortable position. Make sure that you're out of range of large objects, furniture, stuff that you do not want to fall into, because we will not be there to watch you or take care of you. Other than that, sit back, relax, and Sandra, we're going to find out if you're a friend or a frenemy.
That's right.
You know what that means.
Sandra Grace, do you or do you not?
Wait. Swear her in for under penalty of perjury.
John, swear her in, will you please? As the captain, you're allowed to do that.
We just make it an order.
Tell the truth.
You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth on this broadcast.
All right. Sandra Grace, do you indeed like or dislike pineapple on pizza?
I dislike it. My son adores it.
Oh.
So I order it to my home all the time.
Oh.
I choose not to eat it. Yeah.
Good for you. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm a salty, not a sweet.
That means
they know I'm salty, not sweet.
That means we can be friends, and your son needs to be written out of the will.
Exactly.
Or at least a stipulation that he will renounce and swear off pineapple on pizza.
We order to the house all the time, but I don't eat it. Not even pick it off, because then you can just have the sweet sauce.
Exactly. You can't even pick it off.
Cannot.
No one spreads pineapple on their bread.
Exactly.
I've picked off the pineapple, and it's like, okay, there's just a little residual taste of the juice that's
you can't.
That's palatable, but then I'm like, okay, we got the ham, the Canadian bacon, whatever you want to call it, and then it's okay.
Yes. Yay. Laura's a winner too, it looks like. Becca's a winner. Got a lot of winners here. Hey, I do want to let everybody know before we move on, I do have a new training coming up. It's I'm training stage hypnosis and doing basic hypnosis. That'll be the end of May, first part of June. Email me if you're interested, or check out Hypnotic Success Academy. It should be posted shortly. There's the stuff there.
Is this going to be local to Washington?
It is. We are. It's going to be both. Yes, both are local. They're going to be here in the Puget Sound. And please, before you get too relaxed, take one moment to go and subscribe to the channel so you'll never miss an episode of this fabulous podcast. Sandra, it is now in your hands.
Thank you. Can I just ask real quick, how do they subscribe?
Oh, there's
on YouTube.
Oh,
on
click,
YouTube.
click the bell icon.
Oh, I love it. I love that.
Yeah,
I want to do it. Thank you. And also, you're training. Are you teaching them simultaneously, or you teach one and then the other?
It's going to be. They're going to be. I'm setting up to. Somebody could do them together, but they're separate entities. There'll be a week of basic hypnosis online, and then 2 days if they want to attend in person, and then another week, and then a weekend of stage hypnosis.
Oh, nice.
And then they can also do the conference, the Pacific Northwest Conference, at no additional cost.
Oh, is it right before or after the conference?
It's right before the conference, yeah.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Got that idea. Actually, William Mitchell gave me that idea.
Right?
So that's what he does. I was like, oh, you're a genius.
Jim, we need a judgment call. Paulette says roasted bell pepper, pineapple, jalapeno jam. She says it's delicious. I don't know if that's on pizza. If it's not on pizza, I believe that's acceptable.
I think she's talking about a jam that combines the three. I think they may have had it before.
I don't know I don't know. Guys, come on. Can't we just keep it separate but equal? Anyway. I'm gonna have to actually experience that myself, Paulette. So next time at Michigan, whip us up a charcuterie board or something, and we'll do a taste test. All right. And please, so remember, no driving, no moving around. Get yourself comfortable. And Sandra Grace, please take it away. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera so I can just experience this.
Do it. All right, folks. Thank you so much for being here today. What I'm going to encourage you to do is take just a moment to make sure that your tush is back in the chair, and that you have your head feels really supported by your neck, and that you've given yourself an opportunity to drop those shoulders down just a little bit. Yeah, just position yourself for success here. Allow yourself to feel good. So everyone find your position. Tush back, shoulders down, head supported by your neck. Go ahead and follow your breath, and whenever it feels more comfortable to allow your eyes to close, go ahead and close your eyes and just notice your breath. I'm going to let you take 5 long, slow, deep breaths in, because here's the thing, 5 is the number for change. Today, we're going to allow you to take just a moment to just be. In the balance of the yin-yang energy, we spent lots of time doing today, lots of time in the yang and in masculine, the divine masculine energy, and now's your opportunity to embrace the divine feminine and just be. For we know in the center of the being is the most powerful energy to do. We know in the very center of the doing is the calm in the center of the chaos. And you can allow yourself to embrace the opportunity to be here and now. And the frequency in which we experience our being is that of love and gratitude. For on the love-fear spectrum, we know that when we move from love, when we embrace the truth, when we stand in our truth and know the truth is you are loved, you are loved, and you are loving. And when you allow yourself to remain in this space, in this truth, you say in your mind, as you hear me say it aloud, I am love. I am loved. I am loving. Then you can allow yourself to be in that truth. And you'll hear it echoed once again as we move forward. And this time you'll really feel it within your being. I am love. I am love. And I am loving. And from this space, it becomes easy to allow ourselves to notice this beautiful body that we're moving around at first schooling, right? This amazing meat bag that lets us move from place to place and go and do and be. And as we begin to give thanks for this beautiful human form that we have to experience earth schooling, with your eyes closed, breathing nice and slow, allow yourself to move all your attention now to your feet, to your toes. And as you move your attention to your feet, you can take just a moment of gratitude for these beautiful feet that have moved you around Earth School, that have allowed your being to move. And it takes you here and there and everywhere you wish to go. And thank you for these beautiful feet. And perhaps then you move your attention and you give notice to these knees, right? The knees that have allowed you to bend down and maybe to pick up a flower, or maybe to bend down and pet your pet. These beautiful knees that have allowed you to move and reach down and up and move all around. Some say knees are where we hold our fears, and when you allow yourself the flexibility to move, you can release that which may have been holding you back up until now. Thank you, knees. We can move our attention to our hips. Our hips are about moving forward. Our hips are when we know the next smallest step we can take in our journey here on our school. And every day we're growing and evolving and changing and developing. And these hips are what allow us to take those steps forward. And so we take a moment now and say, thank you, hips. And as that same beautiful energy comes up into our lungs, you can take a deep breath in. But this is your breath of life. You were gifted this when you arrived here on Earth School. You didn't have to ask for it, you didn't have to pay for it, it was just there for you, and it's been with you in your whole journey here. And we give thanks for this beautiful breath of life. And as you inhale and exhale slowly and so gently that no one would even know you're doing it, you give thanks and say, thank you, lungs. Thank you, heart. For our physical heart that allows that blood to pump through this body and allows it to heal and restore itself, but also for the esoteric heart, right? For the essence that allows us to feel. And we move our attention now all the way up to the crown of our head, to this beautiful brain. It's allowed us to experience and know that we know that we know. How beautiful this brain works for us. The conscious brain that we're aware of that allows us to know and do, and the subconscious mind, like that amazing computer who's holding all the information that's useful to us. We give thanks for this super conscious and all the parts of this beautiful brain. And as we move our attention to our senses and our face, we notice our ears that have allowed us to hear all the amazing sounds here on earth. There's music and wind and the laughter, the voices of the people we love. And say thank you, ears. And we move our attention to our eyes and all that we've been allowed to see, the beautiful colors, nature. Thank you, eyes. And perhaps we move our attention to our nose or our olfactory senses and all the yummy things we've smelled, all the amazing yummy fragrances we've had from our foods we eat, to the woods, to the freshness of spring. Sometimes it smells so good we can taste it. And so we say, thank you, nose. And we move our energy to our mouth, our gustatory sense. And we give thanks for the bitter and the sweet and the salty and all of the wonderful flavors that we experience while we're around our school. And we say, thank you, Mom. It's been such a blessing to live in this body right here, right now on our school. And so giving time now to give thanks for that opportunity. And as we do, we notice that this vehicle that we've been moving on Earth School in, this vehicle is like our car or our bus or our boat or our jet ski or our motorcycle, right? And so this vehicle that we've been moving on Earth School in is such a precious gift. And so we take time now to think about this vehicle and how it's allowed us to get around. And we notice how it's similar and dissimilar to maybe a truck or a Porsche or a boat or a car. And we see the similarities. We see that first and foremost, we always want to put the highest therapeutic grade fuel into our vehicle, right? We would always know whether it takes diesel or unleaded or leaded. Or, we always know what it needs and what fuel we would put into it, right? Whether it's an electric or a hybrid. And so just as you know this, you know which fuels are ideal for your body here on your school. You know what fuel your body enjoys the most. And just like you would never pour sugar into the tank of your automobile, you would never want to pour something like a bag full of sugar into this body and expect it to work optimally for you. And so you can choose, ideally, the best fuel for this vehicle that you've been gifted to move around Earth School. And you can see that now, and you know that now, and you're aware of the ideal fuel for this body. They're all different. Just like all the different vehicles run on different fuels that are ideal for them. So your vehicle, your body, is unique. You know what it really needs to drive, and so you gift it every day. And just like you would make sure it had all the proper lubricants or hydrations, you do the same for your body as you would your vehicle. You make sure that there's water, right? That the radiator's full so it won't explode or blow. And know that everything needs proper hydration, and you know just the right amount of water for your body every day, and the fluids you like to put in, on and around your body. So you have clarity there. You would not have this beautiful vehicle that you love and never wash it or never care for it. So of course you know just how to wash and clean and maintain this beautiful human form. And also you wouldn't park something that you loved in the garage and just leave it there and expect it to start up one day, right? So you know that you would not have this body just sit and rest all the time. You know that it would need the right amount of movement. And so you would get it out. You start it up and take it for a run. And maybe you just go around the block, or maybe you go across town, or maybe you go out on the Autobahn, but you wouldn't get on the Autobahn and go for hours and days and days and days and not expect it to explode. So, of course, you give it just the right amount of rest and the right amount of movement. And you know what that looks like for this beautiful body you've been in all this time. You know just the right movement for this body and just the right amount of rest and care. And so we give thanks by showing how grateful we are for this human form in the way that we care for it, like we would our vehicle, a prized vehicle that we have. And we are so grateful. And so as you notice that you focus on the gratitude of this amazing vehicle that you're moving around your school in, you notice that in addition to this, there's also something else. There's something in addition to the physical form. Maybe it's, you call it your essence. Maybe it's your soul or your spirit. So let's consider this essence, this essence and this form, how they work beautifully together during your time here on Earth School, and how they can also work uniquely. And so if you took just a moment now to consider that they could separate and reassimilate, and what would it be like if you would bring them together and then apart? And then as you know that your body is safely protected there in this space and place and in this time, and that because you know it's protected, you may allow yourself to separate for just a moment. And if it feels safe and right and comfortable for you, you may allow your essence to move up to the corner of the room. Perhaps from the corner of the room, the essence observes the form, sees this beautiful human body, and looks down and says, "How beautiful. How wonderful this body that I've been gifted to move around Earth School in." And from this vintage place of gratitude, from this vantage viewpoint, you notice just how amazing this body is. And this mind that's within the body that allows it to think and know and experience and do and know that you know that you know that you know. And it's so powerful. Thank you. Thank you for this mind. And so from the corner of the room, if it feels safe and appropriate, and you can see that this body is safe, perhaps you move up to the roof of the building, or maybe you go up to a high tree or a wire. Maybe you move all the way up into the atmosphere, the stratosphere, and maybe you allow yourself to go all the way up, so far up, 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 that you could look down and you would see this green-blue ball that some call Earth. And maybe you would look down on Earth School and see that on that green-blue ball, all the way down there, you see that body resting, residing as you continue to go up and up and up and up into everything, until you find yourself through the atmosphere and the stratosphere and the galaxies until you're one with everything, until you find yourself in flow. And you notice that you are one with the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. Maybe it's God guides your angels, maybe it's Allah, Buddha, Jesus, the one who's everything. And you find yourself part of everything. In this space, it becomes easy. Once you're with flow, it's so amazingly easy to look all the way down at that green blue ball, and all the way down at that beautiful human form, and see that all the way down there, that up until now, we were struggling. There were some things that felt like hard. Some of them were daily things, some of them were occasional things, but there was something that felt like hard for them. in that beautiful human form. And from this space, of course, it's easy. The answers to the questions, or the questions to the answers, are easy when you're a part of everything, when you're part of the oneness, when you're in flow. And now you can see that what felt like so truly hard for them, that body down in their school, it now seems remarkably easy here. And so allow yourself to take just a moment and notice the answers to the questions, to the things that felt like hard. And from here we see how remarkably easy we can make it can be. Allow yourself to notice. That's right, it's easy now. It's easy to see and know and hear and feel the truth. The truth is you are loved. You are loved. And you are loving. From that frequency, from the highest frequency, love and gratitude, you have access to everything. And so it is. Once you see, feel, hear, and know this truth, perhaps it would be helpful to remember something that you're noticing. Maybe it's a word or a phrase. Something that you would take all the way back down to that body later and remind them. You know, that thing that felt like hard for them. Remind them of the truth and how easy this can be. Maybe it's a color or a symbol or a number. Maybe it's a word or a phrase. Remember that now. And when the time is right, you'll bring it back, all the way back. And it feels so good to be here that maybe you want to take just another moment to see if there's anything else you noticed. Maybe there's some conversations you'd like to have, or things you'd like to remember. Do so now. And again, maybe it's a color, a symbol, a number, a word, or a phrase that you'll recall. And in just a moment, you're going to begin your descent back down. But don't leave yet. Take just a moment to give thanks. And to remember that you can return to this space and place anytime you choose. Simply by allowing the separation of the essence and the form, by going up to the corner of the room, the top of the roof, up through the atmosphere and the stratosphere. Anytime you choose, you can return to this space and collect any more answers to questions or questions to answers that you wish, because they're right here. They're always here. And then you'll just remember them as a color, a symbol, a number, a word, a phrase, and then we'll bring them down. And now we're about to begin to read. So give thanks. And when you look all the way down at that beautiful ball and that beautiful body resting there, about halfway between, go ahead and begin to float, like a feather or a leaf, gently, slowly floating down. But look all the way down and notice about halfway between where you are now and where that body is resting. But halfway through, you're going to see a double heart. You're going to see two hearts, a double heart. And I want you to know that you're going to pass through those double hearts. But before you do, I want you to take just a moment to understand what's going to happen when you pass through those double hearts. It's still a ways away, but as you prepare to get near those double hearts, you're going to know that when you soon pass through them, you're going to leave behind any useless, unnecessary pain or suffering that you may have had up until now, whether it was at the soul level or the physical level or the mental, emotional level. You're going to leave behind any useless or unnecessary pain or fear or lack or less, and it'll all be left behind. And so as you find yourself getting closer and closer to those double hearts, I want you to imagine that you are like a bow and arrow that's going to go right through. And as you are that arrow that's going to go through, you're going to, in just a moment, we're going to pull back on that bow. But before we do, notice that for just a moment, you might feel it more than before. For just a moment, you might feel any of that fear, lust, lack, useless, unnecessary pain, worry, stress, any of it for just a moment. So be brave, but then as soon as you pass through, it'll be gone forever. And so as you allow that now, seeing yourself as the arrow, seeing the bow being pulled back, see it being pulled back, but look at your target on the other end of those double hearts. There it is. There's that beautiful human form that you're so grateful for, and you're about to reassimilate the essence and the form. So pull back now, be brave. It'll take just a moment. And release. Right through the double hearts. Right all the way down, gently, easily, comfortably, reassimilating the essence and the form together as one again. Essence and form become one. Feeling so good. So much better than before. So great to be reunited. And now as you may share the word, the phrase, the color, the number, the symbol, whatever it is that you wanted to bring back to remind that human form, this wonderful being that you know and love Kellner School as you. You wanted to remind them of something, to let it be easy. That what up until now felt like hard is in fact quite simple. Go ahead and tell them. Show up, remind them. Beautiful. And as you allow yourself to feel the comfort of being one with your essence, your form, by honoring that beautiful brain so that you know that you know that you know the truth. You know the truth. You are loved. You are loved. And you are loving. And that truth feels so good. And any time that in the next coming minutes or moments or hours or days or weeks or months ahead that anything that feels like hard or uncomfortable up until now, you can just return to the truth. It's really quite simple. That when you remain with the frequency of love and gratitude, when you are one with flow, with your God, your guides, your angels, your Hallelujah, Jesus, science, nature, the oneness, when you're one with everything, it feels so good. In just a moment, you're going to want to open your eyes and you're going to return to the place in which you started this journey. But before you do, take just a minute and notice how it's a moment-by-moment choice, and you and only you get to decide. And you can decide to carry this feeling forward with you. And that you can decide that this is the way in which you choose to live, and you can create a way of living that feels like love and gratitude. And it's a moment-by-moment choice, and you'll choose it every day. Where you make the choice, and the choice fires off the thought, and the thought fires off the chemicals, and the chemicals create the feeling, and the feelings are your life. So choose love. Give yourself that grace that you give to others. And now when you're ready, you'll feel that wonderful energy in your toes, and you can wiggle your toes, and it feels good. And that same beautiful energy has come up to your knees, and all the fears are gone. You're only the frequency of love and gratitude. As that energy come up to your hips, you know the next smallest step you're going to take forward. That next smallest step to enjoy life with ease. As that beautiful energy comes into your lungs, you take a deep breath in, breathing in 5 long, slow, deep breaths that are going to bring you back to wonderful energy to finish out your day. As that energy comes all the way up the crown of your head, knowing you're never alone and you're always divinely guided, and it feels fantastic. And when you're ready, with the degree that you are committed to this wonderful, easy, joyful life, blink, blink, blink your eyes open. And when you're ready, you blink, blink, blink to the commitment to living your best life in love and joy and peace and health and happiness that are yours to claim. And it's a moment-by-moment choice. And blink, blink, blink your eyes open to this wonderful life for you. Thank you. Thank you for joining me tonight, and thank you for being open to receive.
Yeah, welcome back, Jim.
Hey guys, thanks Sandra, that was wonderful.
What did you notice?
I thought the double hearts was interesting. Yeah.
So for all of our listeners, what was the most impactful and best part? Go ahead and comment. And Sandra, I've got one question that I've been curious to ask.
Yeah.
With all of your experience with hypnosis and everything, what was the probably? I think when I was sitting with you and Terry Stokes in the bar in Vegas, I asked this question: what was probably your most profound and most impactful experience where you made a difference in somebody's life that was memorable to you, or the most rewarding experience that you've had so far?
I really believe that, the most rewarding thing that I've done is to be able to remind, those who care for others, that when we care for ourselves, that we have so much more power and strength to continue on our mission. So if we have a mission here at our school to support and love and care for others, whether it's to bring joy as an entertainer, or whether it's to bring, a therapeutic resolution to those in trauma, I feel that, when we can create a space and a place where we can teach and support others to support themselves, I feel like that's the most powerful thing. Did I give a better answer than this?
Yeah, I guess to narrow it down, was there a like a singular experience where you remember where you've made a profound impact on somebody's life that was very memorable to you, that stands out?
I don't know.
Like one of the ones that I remember with Dan Hedrick was when we recorded the hypnosis training down in Seattle, and he hypnotized the deaf kid, and he was just absolutely in tears. And Dan says, "Why are you crying?" And the deaf kid goes, "Well, this is the first time I've been able to participate with all of my friends just like a normal person."
Yeah.
And to be there for that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, we've been very blessed in our profession. We are so blessed that we have the opportunity to have an impact on others' lives, that they trust us and they allow us to have the rapport so that we can guide them. It's a blessing.
It definitely is pretty awesome. And we've got a lot of comments. Scott says that was a great experience. Becca was going to say that she really enjoyed the hearts and arrow part. And,
that was the Freddie Jackman part, the graceful arrow, right? Freddie and I, we hypnotized each other for a year every other week, right? He hypnotized me, and that's where the graceful arrow came from. Yeah.
Right. And then Sandra said it was very relaxing. She said that she forgot what you said about the knees, what it sounded like. Some of the audio was cutting in and out here and there, but she said it was very, very interesting.
Well, I do know that many people believe that the knees are where we hold our fears, and so when we feel a lot of weight or pressure in those, it keeps us from being flexible or moving forward or being able to move in different directions in our life. So people that study mind-body connection, really believe that the knees are a powerful place of healing. And I do have to say that I'm shocked at the amount of Americans that I work with, because I do an integrative approach, and when they fill out their intake form, I'm surprised at the number of people by midlife their knees are gone. Right? It's always fascinating, right?
My knees are going because of Uncle Sam. But
it is interesting for sure. Yeah, you said something earlier about the military, and I don't know if people know, but I've had the blessing of working with the women in defense, and so we have Rock Island Arsenal here, and so I've worked with them, and of course my husband was a Marine, and so I was able to work with a lot of Marines over the years, and I remember like when my husband was going in for something called like SEER training, right? It's a pretty intensive experience where I had the blessing to teach him self-hypnosis before he did that. And, I guess the understanding is like no one makes it out of there. Like everyone,
that was where I was going with, is a lot of your tier 1 operators and flight crew, to once, and I was watching a video clip of a well-known YouTuber, and he used to be an instructor, and he goes, when you get out and you're actually being hunted by other human beings, like your heart rate and your stress level goes through the roof, and being able to calm yourself, think rationally, and then God forbid you are in any sort of, captive situation. It's having the mindset to go, all right, here's how we feed out little bits of information, play the part, be in control of yourself, and, just remain in the fight.
When he was telling me, he's like, obviously it's all supposed to be top secret, and I'm supposed to know, but they hear tricklings, and I said, well, I can help prepare you if you can tell me about it. He's like, well, I don't really know, because that's the things we don't know, but I do know, like in general, like everyone gets captured and everyone, undergoes this torture. So,
well, for the school portion, but I think it would be amazing to be able to have the self-hypnosis be a part of the curriculum. as a means of self-preservation and those types of things.
Yeah. He said it made all the difference for him,
Oh,
yeah, it was really nice. But and the more we can do preventatively with our soldiers, right? The more we can do with the men and women to help them, control their mind prior to their service. The less, obviously, my husband had PTSD, 21 PTSD memories when he died, and the less we have, the more we can do prophylactically, right? That we can train our soldiers, the less that they'll bring home.
And then even the aftermath, you're seeing a lot of, and it's not limited to military. It's also, spills over into our first responders, firefighters, law enforcement, paramedics, stuff like that. I mean, even like hospital, ER trauma nurses and docs,
Yeah,
it's a lot of heavy stuff to deal with. And, if you guys, any of our listeners and viewers, if you guys know somebody that is struggling and is looking for resources, we may not have all of the right resources, but we can at least do our best to point you in the right direction. And even if we're getting you that one step closer to assistance, forward progress is still progress. And if somebody is seeking assistance and seeking help, take that little victory of you're still in the fight and it's not over.
Yeah, we had a non-for-profit called Soldiers, Veterans, and Family Resources, and I know that it's such a gift to try and find our place to give back to our communities. And through the pandemic, we certainly learned about our healthcare providers and how painful and stressful that was for them. And so, when we can find ways to give back to our community, that's a great thing.
Yeah, Laura has a great comment. She says that's definitely what it was: fear in the knees, and she says you're very insightful and is very appreciative. And Tracy absolutely loved it, and she had some energy movement that was happening. Tracy, if you want, feel free to elaborate.
Well, you should all know that I am a huge fan of Tracy Harden. So if you haven't met her yet, I hope you do soon. She is a very talented woman, and it's amazing what she's creating in her practice and the way she's making an impact in the world. And she's a big part of the cheer squad at Heartland as well.
Right. No, that's awesome.
Right. Well, that was fabulous. Thank you so much, Sandra.
Welcome. Thanks, guys. It was nice to hang out a little bit. And like I said, 3 handsome dates in one. This doesn't happen often. Thanks.
Woo-hoo. There you go. Everybody, get ready. Get your lottery ticket handy. We're going to do the drawing. We're going to do the raffle. Oh, so Tracy says her head was moving back and forth during the session. Nice.
Interesting.
Yeah, so sometimes this is the way we release.
So you find a lot of people just any type of movement. It's kind of like animals when they get the zoomies, they just need that energy release. Is that something that you would kind of describe it as?
Yeah, it can be. Oftentimes, I think what we find is when there's some movement that's occurring during there, it's especially we're noticing post-pandemic. So Lisa Sigworth, who I'm a huge fan of, she's in our community. She's a grief specialist, and she talked to me about this. How we have these layers of grief now, and we have compounded unresolved grief. Post-pandemic in so many people, and so. We don't realize how much we've been carrying until it starts to shut off, until it happens to come off. And I know that the stage folks are noticing it more and more in our youth, right? Especially like in the high school circuit and stuff like that, right? We're seeing more and more of that sort of stuff coming out, even during our entertainment shows, right? Because they just finally get to breathe for a minute, right? And so, people like, Tracy's an amazing hypnotist, but also she's a body worker and an energy worker, and so she's out there every day on the front lines making a difference, And so, I think that it would make sense that as an entrepreneur and a successful woman that she is, that she probably cares for a lot of people, and so to take a moment for herself, it makes sense that she would have some of that shutting really come on.
Oh, wonderful. Well, Jim, is it that time?
Is that time just to remind the folks at home what you're playing for? A brand new car. No, not a brand new car. You are playing for one of these fabulous, you can't really see them very well here. Go to damnmindpretty.com. You'll see what you're playing for. we're giving away a t-shirt or tank top that says, "Damn, I'm pretty." Everyone who used the hashtag Hypnosis Hero, get ready because here it comes. Please share the podcast. Please, right now, share it. Share it quickly. Here we go. Who's the winner? Again, Jim.
It did say we're playing until I win, but that was the captain that was speaking.
We play until I win. That's it. Game over.
Let's try that one again. Hopefully I don't win this time. Right.
This one's a long one. I'm fascinated.
Ooh.
Row applications.
Oh, I don't know what that. Not sure what that. Oh, I think we that was one of ours. Okay, hold on. We're gonna get there soon.
This is so fun. I want to learn how to do this.
Tracy Harden. There we go.
That's my girl. Yes, that's my lady.
Tracy, you have just won a beautiful, brand new Damn I'm Pretty shirt. You can have a tank top or a t-shirt. Comes in red or pink. Please message me what you would like and what size and your address.
Yes.
Woohoo!
Bring it to Heartland, man. Bring it. That's awesome.
Bring it, indeed. Bring it, indeed. Let me see if I can get rid of that now. Get rid of the raffle. Hide it. Yes, there we go.
Scott's calling shenanigans, saying that Jim Kellner's always a winner.
That's
every
right.
time.
Always a winner. That's right. Tracy, I'm so happy for you. If you didn't win, please head over to damnimepretty.com. Make your own purchase. They're very inexpensive. Such a great deal.
Oh, and Becca, Jim needs a picture that we can show on, or that he can post online.
Yeah,
and then Tracy, same thing. Once your shirt arrives, make sure that we get a picture of you that we can share. And
absolutely. And Mark's is on the way. Mark won one last week, so we got a lot.
And Mark, we need a picture of you as well.
Yes. All right, Sandra, it's been a pleasure. I can't wait to see you again.
I look forward to seeing you all. And if you two, a couple of you gentlemen, I don't think you're going to be at Heartland, but if we don't see you there, we'll see you at the next conference. Thanks.
I'll see you at Heartland, most likely, or Hypnothoughts at least.
Yeah, yeah, Vegas, baby.
All right, everybody, take care.
What an honor. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. Please share the podcast. Thank you, Sean, Brian, of course, and all of our lovely watchers, listeners. I sent him one a while back. Well, I wasn't sure if I could use that, Becca. Thank you. I'll use it. All right, take care.